Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about test taking hacks. We've talked about studying, we've talked about how to study, creating a dedicated study space, using flashcards, using, apps on your phone, whatever it takes, the Pomodoro study technique, all this stuff of how to study. But what about when you sit down and test is in front of you? What do you do then? So first, here's some just general hacks. First thing, besides putting your name on it, always put your name on it, please, is read the directions. Read the directions. Don't assume. Don't look at it and like, oh, this is matching. You never know. You never know what kind of sneaky teacher might be out there going, haha, I'm going to get them on this. You never know. Read the directions. That's first. You've also, when you sit down, and this kind of harkens back to what I was talking about a second ago, you have studied and you have reviewed. Make sure that that's happened. Now, you've read the directions, you're prepped and ready to go. The first thing you do is go through and do the ones you know first. If you know them inside and out, easy peasy, do them. The object of the game is to get as many answers correct as possible, yes? So, therefore, do the ones you know first so that you can knock those out and spend as much time as you have left to do the ones that might take a minute or two. Now, if you skipped some questions, be sure to circle them either on the test sheet or the answer sheet somewhere so that you know to go back and check, oh yeah, I didn't do number 12. I need to go back and check that one, see what's up. Do not spend too much time on any one question. Remember what the object of the game is. The object of the game is to get as many answers correct as possible. If you spend 10 minutes on one question, that's 10 minutes that you could have spent on 20 other questions. Ask yourself, if you sit here for 3 days and look at this question, are you going to be able to answer it? If the answer is no, take a guess and move on with your life. If the answer is, I just need a minute, that's one you circle and you come back to later. Be sure to circle them. Other just general hacks for test taking. Don't overstudy. Don't be the student that says, I stayed up till 3 a.m. Well, why? Now you're tired. How is that helpful? Don't do that. Be normal about this. Also eat or don't eat. The object here is to keep yourself at the same level you're always at. If you don't eat breakfast, which I do not recommend, please eat breakfast. But if you don't eat breakfast, don't eat breakfast. If your test is after lunch and you usually eat, a big lunch, now you have to kind of watch it. Maybe don't eat quite so much. Don't make yourself sleepy. Be mindful, but make sure you have enough fuel in the tank, literal fuel, food in your tank to be able to power you through this kind of test. Okay, so now let's look at some very specific types of tests. And the first one we're going to look at is a multiple choice test. Multiple choice test has its own kind of strategy. First and foremost, go in being confident. This is kind of an aside. Go in being confident. I hear so many of my students come in and like, oh, I'm going to fail this test. Stop that. That's not helpful. Making somebody else say, oh, you're going to do great. That's, first of all, not their responsibility. Secondly, it's nice if you can get it. But thirdly, you have to be the one that is confident. If you've studied, if you're ready, if you've reviewed, you've done everything you're supposed to do, you slept, you ate, you drank your water, all that good stuff, then go in being confident, saying, I'm going to do great on this test. It starts in here, okay? So first of all. Now, the next thing to do on a multiple choice test, let's take a look at this. The next thing to do is eliminate the answers that you know for a fact are wrong. If this is a question to you that would be kind of, you weren't sure about it, first let's take away the answers that are wrong. We know they're wrong. The more answers you eliminate, the odds are better of you getting it correct. So let's say Georgia is I know it's not a county, and I know it's not a continent. Literally cross them out. Create that physical, visual barrier so that you don't accidentally choose one that you know is already wrong. Now, at this point, if you can't figure it out, if you just don't know, you don't know if it's a state or a country, and you're lost, here's where you take a guess, because you knocked your choices down to 50%. Those are great odds in Vegas. Take a guess. If you can knock your choices down to 1, well, you are 100% right. Right? So physically, visually eliminate them. Cross them out. Another hack for a multiple choice test, actually this is almost for any kind of test, do not change your first answer. Do you know how many tests I've graded where I noticed that they had the correct answer the first time, erased it, and changed it? Do not change your first answer unless you are very, very, very sure that you're wrong, that you made a mistake. Then you can change your first answer. If you're just kind of like, I'm pretty sure, leave it alone. Chances are you got it right the first time. How many times have you done that? Have you gotten a test back and said, oh man, I had that answer? See? On multiple choice tests, do not look for patterns. As someone who makes her own tests most of the time, I don't have time for that. Most teachers don't have time for that. We're not going to make a pattern ABC, ABC, ABCD, ABC, AB. No, we're not going to do that. Generally, there are no patterns, so don't look for patterns. Also, if you're really not sure about the answer, avoid what are called absolute statements. If the answer in it has a never, blah, 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 or always, or everybody, or nobody, when it's an extreme, when either everybody does something or nobody does anything, avoid that answer, because rarely in life do those things happen. The everybody or nobody. There's always a gray area in between. So just avoid those. If you're not sure and you're down to 2, pick the one that doesn't have the absolute in it, meaning the extreme. Okay? All right. So next, we're going to look at a fill-in-the-blank type of test question. And what we do here is a couple of things. This also works with matching and definitions. Do the ones you know first. This goes for all types of tests. Do the ones you know first and cross them out. If you're sure that one of the answers is incorrect, cross it out. Make it visually available that you cannot pick that one anymore, okay? Then you go back and start eliminating. Now, use what you know. If you look at this statement, one of the things you'll see is that the word that goes in the blank should not start with a vowel. Why do we know that? Because it's an A, not an N. So even without looking at the word, if it starts with a vowel, we're going to get rid of it. We're going to literally cross it out. Yes? Okay. So we literally crossed it out. Now, a lot of my students, I think, when they do this type of test, they don't read the sentence out loud, or at least out loud in their head, and see if it makes sense. Okay, so that's the next thing you do. If you're not sure, fill it in. A basketball is a toy. A basketball is a tool. A basketball is a gizmo. We're going to eliminate gizmo. Cross it out. There we go, got crossed out. Now we're down to 50-50. If you're not sure, take a guess, but let's see if we can figure this out just a little bit more. A basketball is a tool. A basketball is a toy. What is the best answer? You always look for the best answer. As you get out of lower school or elementary school, you're going to be looking less for the right answer and more for the best answer. And the best answer is toy. Okay? So that's how you do fill in the blank. Also, remember what you know from your roots, your prefixes, your suffixes. If that helps you, if you realize that the word that goes in the blank should be a negative word, look for nons and uns. If it should be a positive word, look for pre's and things like that. Use what you know. Use all your knowledge to help increase the odds of getting the test answer correctly. Also, Use your resources. If there's something up on the wall, if there's a map up on the wall or a poster or something, don't get up and go look at it. But if it's there and it's uncovered and it does help you answer a question, then use it. If the test question, 3 questions away from the one you're working on, actually helps you answer that question, use that. Use that as a resource. It's super, super available. It's legal. You can completely do that. So use all your resources. Let's take a look at another type of test, and this is about passages where you have to read a passage to answer the question. I'm going to tell you to do something that I probably wouldn't tell you to do with homework. Read the questions first, then read the passage. That's the best piece of advice I can give you. So you know what you're looking for. And next, make sure that you are underlining if it's a language arts test and you have to figure out parts of speech, find the parts of speech. And if you can write on the test, underline them, circle them, mark them, put a star by it, something. Keep it as visually map-like as you can so that you can easily find what you're looking for. That's one of the best pieces of advice. One more test, an essay test. If anywhere you can do some writing, kind of scratch paper or off to the side in your test booklet or something, create a little outline for yourself. This is the intro. This is what I'm going to talk about. It's got the topic sentence in there, paragraph 1, paragraph 2, conclusion, or however you do it. Create a little outline for yourself and stick to that. That will help keep you on track. Usually essay tests are timed. You don't want to take too much time. Giving yourself a roadmap of where to go and how to go and what points you're going to hit along the way, that's going to keep that speed up and keep you organized. So stick to it. Also, create details and examples. Include details and examples. So many of my students don't put any details or examples in it, and they don't prove what they're saying. You know, so-and-so was a giant. Well, if you can't prove it, then how am I supposed to believe it? You need to be able to say, yes, and he bought pair of shoes that were size 39. Something that proves that he's a giant. So details and examples. Assume the reader knows nothing. Assume the reader knows nothing. So you have to explain everything. Don't go overboard, but if you're questioning, should I put this detail in? Should I not put this detail in? Put the detail in. And finally, don't waste time with minutia. If you're struggling with how to spell a word and you have a whole essay to write, do the best you can and move on. Most teachers will, either not even notice or only take a little bit off for misspelling a word or something like that. Do not pay attention to the minutia, pay attention to the content. The idea of an essay test is to show, can you write? Can you put your arguments across? If you forget how to spell minutia, which I can't spell, do the best you can to move on. Okay? So those are some helpful hints. I hope they help. I hope you take them to heart. You should have a handout as well. Put that someplace where you can check it once in a while. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.